Symbolism and Our Creativity. In exploring our creativity, one aspect that is not readily recognized is how often we use symbols and how powerful they are or can be. This discussion is about bringing our attention and awareness to how symbols are routinely used and how we may use the understanding of symbols to expand what we can do creatively. For those who may not be familiar with symbols and how they routinely operate, what is provided here is a brief discussion on the concept of the symbol and examples of the use of the symbol. A symbol represents an object, a function, or a process. It is something which represents or stands for something. A good example of a symbol are rings that we put on our fingers. The ring has several uses and symbolizes many things over time and in a variety of different cultures. One symbol of which most are probably aware is the wedding ring. Traditionally, when a male and female get married or make some type of commitment between each other, they put a ring on the finger to symbolize that commitment. Usually it is a commitment one person makes to the other within the society in which they live. It is acknowledged that they will live together somehow or in some kind of relationship that is acceptable to the society in which they live. Obviously, what is acceptable in one society may not be acceptable in another, but nevertheless, the ring on the finger symbolizes the commitment between the two individuals as to what the relationship will be between them. Nevertheless, the wedding ring symbolizes a commitment to another individual and a way of living and being in society in which the two individuals find themselves. Similarly, traditionally, fraternities or organizational rings were bestowed on individuals who became inducted into the organization after some probationary period and initiation of some type. Here, the ring symbolizes the individual wearing the ring has met the standards for the organization which bestowed the ring, and that the individual live in accordance with the rules, standards, morals, philosophy, and the like of the organization. Acceptance of the ring can be seen as a formalization of the agreement to live by the standards and the highest principles of the bestowing organization. In the same way, the traditional college class graduation ring represents a fulfillment of a degree requirement of the particular educational organization. But again, wearing the ring is a demonstration of a loyalty to that organization for which they wear the ring, and supposedly a commitment to live in accordance with the principles for which the organization was founded and represented in the education it provided. Then there is the jewelry that people wear. Some have large or expensive jewels in them or very impressive metalwork. These types of ring can be seen as just sort of ego gratification and saying, look at me, what I can afford, and look how precious I am because I have this ring that I wear. In many ways, a lot of people wear costume jewelry or different kinds of rings just because they like them. But wearing rings for whatever reason, they symbolize something to the one who wears them and often to the other members of society in which the person wearing the ring lives. Sometimes the ring is simply representative of what is important to the individual. For example, wearing a ring with some very elegant jewels on it is obviously very important to the wearer and makes a statement as to what the individual perceives as important. As such, it may not mean anything to anybody else because nobody else cares about the jewels on the ring. So the question is, what is the ring as a symbol representing? What does it say about the individual who uses that symbol, and what does it mean for their way of life relative to that symbol? Then there are symbols typically of information of highway road signs. A road sign is a symbol that represents something, whether it is a speed sign, a warning of hazards, or just information. The shape of the sign is also part of the communication in the symbol. Some signs are octagonal, some are square-shaped, some are triangle, and some are round. Then there are colors, and different colors have different meanings. Then, of course, there is the use of flags. Traditionally, flags were used to help troops identify themselves on the battlefield or as a rallying point in a battle. They also serve as the cause for which the troops were fighting and create a sense of unity, much in line with the old expression, rally around the flag, boys. In essence, flags have always been used to inspire the individuals who were loyal to that flag. Often today, the flag or symbol of the flag is still used to inspire people and to remind individuals of their heritage and the culture behind the flag. When a flag was raised over a piece of land, the full power of the organization which gave rise to the flag was represented being present at that location. Two different flags raised together represent a union of the two organizations in some way. The flag can be a symbol of military power, economic power, social customs, and a way of being in the world, or political power or perspective. Then there are the mathematical equations used representing physical principles or laws within physical creation. For example, the simple formula F equals ma, or force equals the mass times the acceleration, represents a vast and powerful understanding of creation, namely how a force operates. Yet the formula F equals ma is only a symbol. So there are many different ways you can use symbols. Sometimes they are just to provide information about a specific situation or how to address the situation. Other times they provide a demonstration of loyalty by claiming the symbol and way of being the symbol represents. Or they can represent vast understanding about that which it represents. In any case, sometimes symbols are the most effective way to communicate information. In the journey of exploration of our creativity, it was rather obvious symbols are a very powerful tool in our creative activities. Models and paradigms are also symbols. Any model is only a representation and symbol of what the model represents. The 7 chakras, the Kabbalah tree of life, the periodic table, and the like are all ways of symbolically conveying complex ideas or concepts. Stories, myth, fables, parables, allegories, or all story-like narratives are often convey a secondary meaning or meaning in a symbolic form rather than explicitly. These are often used in ways to tap into the emotions of the reader or listener to help them see a bigger picture. Rituals can be a very powerful symbol, and one such ritual is discussed here. Rituals are about taking some type of action in the body that somehow represents an intention that we wish to manifest. Probably the best way to see how a ritual can be used symbolically is the coconut ritual, when one desires to transform their ego from that which seems to oppose what they desire to create or to something that better supports their creative efforts. In this type of ritual, the ritual is about creating a seed condition that will grow into a way of being in the world. The coconut is chosen as a symbol in that it has a very hard outer shell that must be broken into to get to the parts that are edible. The coconut seed contains the hard shell and a white meat that can be eaten, and the liquid, the coconut milk, can be drunk to give life. Our ego and the identity we create is like the hard shell created by our consciousness as the vehicle for our experience in physical creation. We respond to life based upon the ego we have created. If we want to transform our ego, we somehow have to shed and let go of the ego identity we have and create a new ego more representative of what we desire to experience in life. In setting the intention to transform our ego, the coconut is seen symbolically as our ego. One first completes the appropriate preparation. The preparation is about getting clarity on what we desire to create and establish what we are desiring to change and why. The ritual is to set the intention to transform oneself, in particular the ego and what we think and believe, to be open to meet the changes that are occurring in our life. When we have done all the appropriate preparatory actions, we use an appropriate instrument to break or crack open the coconut shell to get to the interior of the coconut. Breaking the shell is symbolic of the willingness of breaking and shattering our ego structure. Once the shell is cracked, one can drain out any milk and continue at the interior of the coconut and pick out any of the edible pieces. Once the edible pieces are obtained, one can eat and drink the interior edible parts. Eating the edible parts is symbolically representative of recycling the past ego identity and being nourished from the past to build a new identity more suitable to the life changes that are occurring. It's not about throwing away the past. Rather, it's about using the past that is useful and discarding the remainder. Whatever prayers, petitions, actions, gestures, and the like one feels necessary and appropriate can be used in performing this ritual. This ritual acts as a demarcation point. The memory of it will catalyze creating a new identity. It defines a point in time that we have shattered the past identity and we have created, knowingly, full well, that we will take the parts of the past to nourish our new life. Then, of course, there is the symbolism of our body. There are a variety of ways to see the body symbolically. 11 are discussed in the recording, Why View the Body Symbolically. To see our body symbolically, it is to claim the awesome power and capability available in and through our body.